is about to begin. With three white dudes coming at you with some heat. Welcome to School of Hot Takes.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Mitch and D-Spice coming at you from the School of
Right.
Hot Takes. We are here with another glorious week. We had football over the weekend, and there is things to discuss. How are you, Dylan? How was your weekend? What was your football experience like?
I am doing well, pretty well. But just so I guess I'll take all last week. Last week was a good football week. We had the college football championship one, obviously on Monday, and then the championship games over the weekend. So yeah, honestly, it was some good football. All the games were pretty good. I mean, minus the college football second half, but like whatever. I mean, I guess technically the second half was the better half, but yeah,
Mhm.
no, overall the games were solid. Good football. Good football. Sucks the outcome of the NFL games, but
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, I was hoping a little bit more from the Commanders, honestly, out of the Eagles game. But I mean, we'll dive into that a little bit later. But I was, like you said, kind of hoping for different outcome or at least a better game for that one. But yeah, we'll get into those discussions a little bit later. But first, as always, we got our hot take of the week.
Let's go.
And my hot take, I got one here. I think this is going to be the last that we see of the Chiefs in the Super Bowl for at least 3 years in the future. Um, I I think their division in general has just gotten a lot better. Like they're on the rise. Uh, the Broncos have Bo Nix, who's looking to be a future star. The Chargers with Justin Herbert and Harbaugh, they're going to continue to be playing very well. And if both of those two teams can draft really well this upcoming offseason, I think they'll be completely fine. And then the Raiders, I mean, they're still perennial bad team, but I think they're going to be on the incline coming up here since they just hired Pete Carroll. There's rumors from Steelers fans that they want to ship Russ out to the Raiders. I don't know if that's even in the talks or not, but that would be interesting seeing him playing out there against those three good teams right now. So I think with that division just being better in general, it's going to be tougher competition for the Chiefs. Um, and I also think the Chiefs, some of their more key players, I was looking a little bit uh, earlier, are relatively on like the older side. I mean, Travis Kelce, this might be his last season. What is it? Let me look here. Their left tackle, Joe Thuney, he's like 32 or 33, so he might be going out soon, whether this year, next year, something along those lines. Some of their defensive tackles are in their early 30s as well, so you can see them starting to drop off. Um, Not that they're gonna have like bad seasons coming up, but I think Super Bowl wise, I don't think we'll be seeing them in at least the next 3 years. I could see them maybe making the playoffs potentially, or still being the number one seed, something along those lines, and still playing very well. But I just have that feeling with how they played this year. Everyone was saying like, oh, it's not like the normal Chiefs. They're not like showboating or like killing teams by 40 points or something along those lines. I think that could be some sort of like a small indicator of what we might see in the future, sort of that same sort of style of gameplay where they're playing well, but against the tougher teams, it's a real dogfight. So,
I don't know. I see where you're coming from, but it's the fucking Chiefs, dude.
right.
Like if we probably would have had the same talk 2 years ago and would have been like, oh yeah, there's no way they'll win two in a row. And then last year, if we would have asked right after the Super, oh yeah, there's no way they'll win three in a row. Well, here they are again. And
Right.
as soon as this Super Bowl ends, regardless if they win or not, it'll be the same conversation next year. Like, there's no way they'll get back here, and somehow they just keep doing it. I'm not really sure. Yeah, the Travis Kelce I think would be a big hit, but
Mhm.
what's his face, Noah Gray or whatever the
Yeah,
other tight end they
he's
have, he's coming
okay.
on.
He's he's good, don't get me wrong, but he's obviously not like, the Travis Kelce that everyone's used to.
Yeah,
Like So
Yeah,
there's that
but I think
downgrade at that position.
if
But
he gets if he gets a bigger role, and obviously
Mhm.
sitting behind one of the greatest tight ends, like he's obviously learned a lot.
Right.
He could probably take a step up. I mean, they didn't even have Hollywood Brown like all season, and he looked actually pretty solid.
Mhm.
Obviously, Rashee Rice is coming back.
I mean, their
What
Kareem Hunt running back age is older as well. He's what, 29,
Yeah,
I think.
I mean
So,
they picked him up off the freaking streets again. So I doubt they'll sign him to another long term
right.
deal with Pacheco. I saw they're going to try to go after running back because it's a loaded class. So
Hmm.
I'm sure they'll get another good one there. Xavier Worthy's only getting better. So honestly, I think offensively they'll probably look a little bit better than this year just because they'll be
Potentially.
healthier. But yeah, I see what you mean. It's always tough. Like no, we've never seen a team do this three straight times. It's crazy to do
Hmm.
this and be at this spot. Um, to be up for a chance to win, minus the Bills, I guess they lost four straight, which is crazy to even think
Right.
about too. So
Now, we also
yeah,
saw this in Brady's career as well. He was off the Super Bowl area for like what, 3 or 4 years or something like that.
I think it
Like
was
he was
nine.
making,
He won
he,
three, and they went 9 years. They went 9 years
yeah,
without.
like they were making the playoffs obviously, but not making the Super Bowl. So it's like,
Yeah, well, I guess he made. Yeah, he went. Yeah, they lost the 2 years to the Giants, but it was 9 years from winning the three, and then 9 year, and then winning three again. I
right.
think
So I
what it
mean,
was.
I don't know if we'll see something like that with Mahomes. I think it'll be a little bit more frequent than that. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying for some of the team mix up, some of the bigger players leaving, and the strength of the division. Like honestly, if the Raiders can figure it out, this might be the toughest division in the NFL next year. If it's
yeah.
not
I think it'll
already.
take.
Like,
I think they're going to take probably 1 to 2 years to really get it because all they honestly
mhm,
all they have is Max Crosby and what's his face tight end boy on the other side.
right,
Honestly, other than that, I don't think they really have that much
right.
talent.
And I think they'll get there, but like the
Mm.
Raiders, they have to be able to compete in this division with three good teams. Like I almost look at it like the Browns when a couple years ago when it was still Big Ben, Lamar, and Joe Burrow when all three
Yeah,
of them were popping off and like the AFC North was the best division. Like the Browns sort of stepped it up a little bit and made the playoffs. Like in that one season they went like 11-5 or something with Baker. So,
yeah. I'm still subscribing pretty hard to. I just think, and if I was going to do the hot take, it would have been this would have probably been mine. I think we're kind of done with the defensive coaches going to the Super Bowl much. Like it just doesn't happen anymore. Like it's an offensive
mhm,
league. In the last four Super Bowls, it's been all offensive coaches. Like that's just what it is. Like if you're a defensive head coach, you're likely just not getting to the Super Bowl. That's like
right.
what we keep seeing over and over and over. It always seems to come down to the defensive coach plays super conservative. And
Hmm.
that's what ends up losing the game. The Ravens, last 2 years, they play conservative, and then they try to do weird play calling. The only one to really beat Pat Mahomes the last couple of years was an offensive coach in Cincinnati with
Hmm.
Zach Taylor, obviously, and then Andy Reid. And then on the NFC side, it's been 49ers. Offensive, and then the before that was the Rams offensive head coaches. Now Eagles offensive head coach.
Right.
So like it just is what like I think the day and the age of like the play good defense, run the ball, and like that's kind of it stuff, and like the rough and tough. It just doesn't happen. Like we've talked about me and you many
Hmm.
times with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. Like that style just clearly it doesn't work
Right.
anymore. And then you got Steelers jerk off artists on here. They're like, oh no, 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 it's really good. It works.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm thinking. I just need to see. I just don't know who's going to beat them right now. Like in that division, it would probably more likely be Sean Payton, an offensive guy. I know everyone's all big on Jim Harbaugh, but he's once again a defensive guy, and I just don't know if that style, like he did one in Michigan where they threw it like 10 times and then ran a ton. I just don't know that style is going to work because the Ravens have tried that style with the
Right.
crazy good defense, try to keep it conservative, and it has clearly it just hasn't worked. The Titans have been doing that for years. Good defense, run the ball, try to play conservative. It just doesn't work anymore. I think the year of the defensive coaches are just done.
Yeah. I mean, there is that, but also thinking of it like even if the AFC West, if those teams can split with the Chiefs and go 1-1, like that could knock the Chiefs out of the first round or the first overall seed where they're having to travel
Hmm.
on the road during the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, they had to
it,
last
it
year.
could be that situation where in the future that could make the difference. I mean, the Chiefs have had what the 1 or 2 seed for what 6 straight years now, something like that. So
Yeah,
like
last year
they
was
very
it was up
rarely
to
have to
them.
go on the road in the
Yeah.
playoffs, which as we've seen of lately, like it matters. Like
Yeah, and I mean it's going to take one of these, one of these teams to take them down. Like the Cincinnati's, the Bills, the Ravens,
mhm.
and Charger. One of them teams going to have to like take them down, and I'm not sure how they're going to do it. It might honestly it sucks to say, but it might have to be one of those years like Tom Brady that one year when he tore his ACL, he was out, and that kind of reset everything, and it took them a while to get back. Like it
Right.
might take a Pat Mahomes serious injury or something to set him back. I'm not sure.
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, that's where my headspace was at. I was like, I don't know. I think just with how everything's looking in the NFL and that division in general, and
Yeah,
with
it's a safe
Chiefs
bet after
team, it's
three.
I like you said, 3 in a row is substantial. Props to them. Like good job. But like I think we're gonna see some other teams flow in here and like start to f figure out the Chiefs essentially. But like just within the division and the top, like the other AFC top contenders, I think they'll start being able to compete on a more consistent level, I guess.
I mean, let's hope. It's been what 7 years, and they've had this will be their fourth Super Bowl. So like
Right.
it's getting to be quite a bit. This is one of the best runs. I mean, this is topping. I've seen a lot of talk already that like Andy Reid. I think most people would probably consider him a little bit better at this point as like the GOAT coach at this point. Just of like what he's been doing with multiple organizations, multiple QBs and styles, things like
Right.
that. Yeah, and then obviously with Pat Mahomes, if he does his three-peat, yes, Tom Brady has more total accolades, but it's going to be kind of tough to deny him. It's not like 1A, 1B kind of stuff. Like that's
Right.
insane to win three in a row.
So let's move into the reactions to the NFL playoffs here. We had obviously the NFC and AFC championship games. Let's take a little bit of a deep dive into these games here, Dill. Starting with the Commanders and Eagles, what was your, initial reactions to this game? Like upset, happy, thoughts player wise, like what happened here?
I mean, I don't want the Eagles to be there just because I have family and friends that like the Eagles, and I don't. I'm just not a fan of the fan base, I guess, of them. I do like Saquon, that's cool. So I was really rooting for the Commanders, but honestly, like, yeah, they played pretty bad, but I think there's a lot of bright stuff that they can take out of this. Like Jaden honestly played pretty solid, really, in his first. Like this is high stakes game. He's a rookie. He doesn't really know. I wouldn't really put any of the blame on Jaden. I don't think he really
Right.
did anything. Yeah, he had a pick, but at that point he was just trying to press. It was garbage time. I don't really think I'm not going to put that on him. Defensively, they honestly played pretty well, minus the one huge run they gave up to Saquon. I think they held him the rest of like 50 yards the rest of the game.
Right.
So like that's good. I think it's a step in the right direction, but they definitely beat themselves with 3 fumbles. So that was a little disheartening, but I think they're in the right direction, and they had nothing to lose. Like no one thought they were going to beat the Lions. No one thought they'd be in this situation. So like we said it last week. We probably thought it was going to be Eagles to win it anyway. So I mean, yeah, they kind of blew them out towards the end, but a lot of bright side, honestly. If you ask a Commanders fan right now, I think the game itself was a little embarrassing, but I think they're still super positive about the direction they're going.
Right. The season in general was just a
Oh yeah,
highlight. And like Green said in our last episode he was on, like Commanders just making the playoffs for most of these fans was like a miracle. Like it was their Super Bowl. Like that's great. And that's
oh
huge
yeah,
progress for the future. Like, and
yeah. Let
then for
alone
them to
even
even do as good as they did, like that's just outstanding. There's bright future there. They just got to clean up a few spots. And I think they're going to be one of those teams competing in the NFC for the Super Bowl here relatively soon. I
yeah.
don't
I
know
think
about
they're gonna.
next year. That might be jumping the gun a little bit, but
I think
definitely.
honestly they're just gonna take over the Cowboys spot. Like I think it's gonna be Eagles Commanders instead.
Mhm.
Cowboys are gonna take that third place kind of back
Right.
seat.
Yeah. And I've even been seeing some talk about the Giants maybe making some moves to if they can draft right and everything. But
Yeah,
I think this division in general is going to start looking really entertaining and fun to watch again. Like we've sort of been seeing like, oh, the Eagles are dominating and the Cowboys keep getting all this like praise and prime time moments when they just suck. Like, I think we're gonna see some more entertaining games, some more fun matchups, and yeah, I think Commanders, like you said, they did well. It's just they were sort of outclassed, outmatched here against a more veteran Eagles team who have been dominating in the NFC for the past 4 or 5 years now.
I mean,
So,
that after the second fumble, they were only down by a point. It was like
mhm,
13-14 or something like that. Like it was a good ass game still, even
yeah,
after two fumbles. It got a little carried away in the second half, but even in the second half before the last fumble there, like it was like an 11-point game. They had a chance theoretically to come back, and that's what they've been doing all year. They're down in the fourth quarter. Jaden puts the cape on and just goes crazy, and then before you know it, they're forcing a late game field goal or something like that to try to win it. So like it was still a winnable game for
hmm
most of the game. So like that's impressive still to me.
right. Yeah, and I think that just comes with experience as well. A lot of these Commanders players haven't been here in this situation. Like they, you know, are used to playing the regular season and then going home and not playing these really good teams at the end of the year and having to play at this high of a level back to back to back to back. Like
Yeah, it's tough.
so it is. Like they say like yeah, it's fun and good to make it there, but if you can't beat the best and compete with the rest, like it's why are you even going sort of thing. So I don't know. I think, like I said, there's a bright future for them, and congrats to the Eagles. I mean, they played well. They looked good. And I think it'll be an interesting matchup in the Super Bowl from their end, definitely. But getting to the AFC side, me personally, like we said, we figured it was going to be the Chiefs winning, but it was going to be a close game. It was going to be a good game, and I think it delivered on that for the most part. I mean.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, of
chance to
course,
win
like
it.
people were shouting like, "Oh, the refs screwed the Bills," or that the one play where they didn't get the fourth down conversion, or
Yeah, I
um,
mean, if you're the Bills though, don't get in that situation. Like that's
right.
easy to say. Like you shouldn't
That's
have
the
put
big
yourself
argument.
in.
Like, just don't put yourself in that situation. Then, like, get the
Yeah,
first down when you need to. Like the Chiefs were barely in those situations, if at all. I think in this game, like they were
no.
making good plays to be able to convert on third down if they had to. They weren't in the fourth down settings where they had to go for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and this was said on the broadcast a lot. Like the Chiefs knew exactly what the Bills wanted to do, and when they run
mhm,
that little tush push of their own, Josh Allen always goes over either right or left guard, like every
right.
single time. He's done it all year, and he continued to do that, and they made zero adjustments. So
hmm
like that's on the Bills. Like if you're going to run that same exact play you've ran all game and it hasn't been working, and then you're also going to put the game on the line for that play,
Right.
like, that's shame
And
on you for not making the adjustment.
and you gotta know better. Like you're playing the Chiefs here. Like this is a
Oh yeah, yeah.
perennial Super Bowl team. Like you can't just be doing the old tired gameplay that has been working for you all season. Like you
Yeah.
have to do something different here against this team. Like it's just
No.
not gonna work otherwise. Like
Once again, that's where the defensive coaches, that's just the way they do it. They're conservative. They don't want to put the game on the line. That like they're
mhm,
like, I want to. Who's my best player? Let's give him the ball and we'll put it all on him. Whereas like James Cook was doing really good that night. Like why
right.
not? Why not? Let's scheme up and play for James Cook there, or have Josh Allen, who's 6'5" and 250. Like just run him outside a little bit. Like the
Yeah.
the Ravens do great at that. Anything besides the same play you did about 4 or 5 other times and it didn't work, as in, just running right up
hmm
the middle. Like he's like they just don't do it as well as the Eagles, and I get it, but like that, why not at halftime? Just that's an easy adjustment. Or anytime during the game, be like, hey, let's try something else here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just like stale coaching.
Yeah. And like you said, I think it more comes down to the coaching there because, like, the Bills, they played well and they were able to compete with the Chiefs. It's just,
Yeah,
I think they got out coached here. Like you said, the coaches were afraid to make those big risks when you really need to and weren't putting the Bills by play calling, like, in the positions they needed to. Like, they were letting the Bills get to fourth down conversions a couple times. Like, it was
yeah.
Chiefs, you don't see that. Like they always convert on third down if they have to. And if they don't, they know they're going to have the next opportunity to do it when they get the ball back. Like,
Yeah, and like yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Back to back years now, you've had the ball with time, like under 2 minutes left. Uh, down by 3, like 2 years in a row, they could have decided the game. All they have to do is drive down, score, game's over. Like
Right.
2 years in a row, they put it ball in your court. If you're the best players, like Josh Allen, claims to be, and everyone says it, and I agree. Like this is what you want. This is what you live for. Like I can end the game right here,
Yeah.
and they didn't do
Like
it
step
back to
up to
back
that
years.
position. Like
Yeah, like that's why Pat Mahomes is so good, is because every time he's ever been in that position, he has not failed, minus like the one Super Bowl loss. I guess his first year playing Brady in that AFC Championship, but like since then, that's why he is who he is. Like if you're gonna give it to him, and we even saw, what was that, 4 years ago now, the 13-second game, like they gave him 13 seconds, still didn't matter. He got him down there, got him, and did what he needed to do. Whereas Josh, I don't know if it's play calling, I don't know if it's Josh Allen himself, like he just he hasn't delivered. Like that's what sets the greats apart from the really good players.
right. And like you said, Josh Allen, great player. He's gonna be
Probably a Hall of Famer if he keeps up with his stats. Yeah.
potentially, yeah, like he's playing really well. It's just if you I've said it before, if you don't win the end of the season, no one gives a shit.
No, he might be
Like
another what's his face from the Dan Marino. Like
yeah,
everyone always talked about him forever. Like, oh, one of the greatest arms you've ever seen. He was a great athlete, never won the Super Bowl. So like, it's just
who
one of those
cares?
guys.
Like
Yeah, he was great. He was great, but yeah, he never won the Super Bowl. So automatically, people just kind of knock him down a pedestal. If he
right.
just would have won one, like boom, people wouldn't talk about him like others. Like Aaron Rodgers only won one Super Bowl, and we talk about him like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Well,
Like
people still
everyone's,
think he's super great. Like even after this
yeah,
Jets season, there's teams that are like, yo, we just get
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, we're set. Like
And that's one Super Bowl. One Super
right.
Bowl. Freaking Russell Wilson's been to more Super Bowls, man. Like, come on. Like
Yep.
that's, and we don't talk about Russell Wilson like that. Like that's never. We're never gonna be like, oh no, Russell Wilson, he's the truth.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. The Bills just need to do, I don't know if it's what they can really change coaching. It's more they just have to change that mindset essentially. Like
Yeah, you gotta get over the hump. Yeah, you
right,
gotta.
like I think Josh Allen as a player can actually get there. Like it
I hope.
like I said, I think it more comes down to the play calling and coaching, and the coaching has to change that mindset where you can't just hope to get it on the fourth down every time. Like you gotta set your quarterback and offense up where they are scoring almost every drive, even if it's like a field goal. Like you have to be down there and score like every time. Like that's
Well,
what the
they
Chiefs do. Like they just get in those positions where they can score literally almost every drive. It's like, and then you can't compete with them because
they're
they're just
definitely improving. Like 3 years ago and before that, Josh Allen, it was just him. They didn't even have a run game.
right.
They invested in the O line. They got James Cook. He's really turning out. He was the top 5 back this year. Like now he's
Mhm.
finally got help. So they're taking a step in the right direction. But like what's Peyton Manning, like he didn't win anything until he was in his 30s, and then finally won
Yeah.
4 Super Bowls in his 30s. So maybe it's one of those situations where it's all going to click. It's just he's unfortunately in in the same era as Pat Mahomes and Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson. Like if it was just Josh, he probably would have 2, maybe 3 now. Like that's really tough. Like was that you
Right.
that shared that stat? The AFC and NFC like or was it QBs or teams that have been in
Oh yeah,
the
it was like there's been
running?
seven since 2002. It's been like seven AFC teams to make the Super, seven different AFC teams to make the Super Bowl, and 20 different NFC teams to make the Super Bowl in
Yeah,
like
like it's just that
20,
much harder. Like that's
22 year
insane.
stretch or something. Like
Well, like yeah, what are the chances that both like the dynasties that we've seen in the last 25 years are both AFC? Like that's
right,
insane that they've both been there, and that sucks for like I mean we're Steelers fans like Ben Roethlisberger. Those I wish they could have had more, but like they had to Tom Brady. Like they just couldn't beat Tom
right.
Brady, and now we're here. Same thing with Pat Mahomes. If you don't beat Pat Mahomes, well then shit, you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah, SOL. But let's move on to the actual game of the year, the Super Bowl.
The
What are
rematch.
we looking forward to here? What are we expecting? What is going to be the outcome here, Dill? What is going to happen?
uh, I'm going to continue this. I mean, we've said it a million times. You don't bet against the Chiefs. I'm not going to bet against the Chiefs. I mean, there's only been probably 4 or 5 teams that have played the Chiefs hard in the last
Mhm.
5 years. Eagles are one of them. Like that Super Bowl, they played them super well. I think they understand it. the Eagles are probably a little bit better at this point. I mean, their defense is top five. They're great. Obviously, Chiefs defense is pretty solid as well. Adding Saquon Barkley is massive. Like what more could you really ask for? But I just don't think it's going to all kind of come together the way they want. I think defensively, I think the Chiefs are going to figure it out. They will sell all out. I just don't think they're going to allow Saquon that, and I just don't think Jalen Hurts can win the game.
Right.
I
I,
just don't.
I
I
think
don't
the
believe.
Chiefs are, like you said, they're gonna overcommit on Saquon and force Jalen Hurts to actually throw the ball a lot.
Yeah,
And yeah, I'm sure he's gonna have, a decent game and be able to make plays and um so I think Jalen Hurts is gonna be able to, make some good throws and play well and get some touchdown passes and everything. But there's that solid difference between Jalen Hurts and Pat Mahomes where like are you really gonna want to rely on Jalen Hurts at the end of the game to drive down the field to get you the game-winning score? Like I
yeah,
don't think so.
exactly.
And that's
Yeah,
where the difference is going to come in, I think. Even if it is a close game, the whole game, like if it comes down to Jalen Hurts' last drive to win the Super Bowl, I don't think he has it in him.
yeah,
Um, him and the Eagles in general, like they're going to
yeah,
do something stupid and throw the ball away or not get a, they're going to go 3-and-out or something like that. And I don't know.
yeah.
I
I
think
think
it's going to
Eagles
be
need to win this a certain way, and it has to be a blowout of the Chiefs.
Mhm.
And no, we've never seen the Chiefs be blown out since four Super Bowls ago or whatever when they played Brady. So like that just doesn't happen anymore. Obviously, Pat Mahomes is much better than he was 4 years ago. The team
Right.
itself is just much more seasoned. This is their third time, so every guy knows what it's like. They've been here. They feel that.
Mhm.
Some of these Eagles guys, they have two rookies that they rely heavily on the defense. They have no idea like what this game is. Whereas on the other side, all of these guys, they understand it. They know what this game is. They know what they're bringing. Besides minus like Xavier Worthy, but I guess that probably at receiver, that's might be the easiest position to just like kind of plug and
Right.
play. Whereas I'm thinking, if you're a corner and you're like, that's a tough matchup to ask to go against these guys that are so seasoned. And yeah, like you said, if it's a close game and who am I going to choose, Pat Mahomes or Jalen Hurts? Well, it's pretty easy. Like I'd choose that. They can play this game 1,000 times, and if it's a 3-point game, the Chiefs probably win that 99 times.
Right.
Or yeah, like it's just not. It's just not. It's not set up for the Eagles, but who knows? Maybe they do come right out and they punch them
We've
in the mouth, and it's 14-point lead before you know it, and they just kind of coast like that.
right.
That could happen.
Yeah, we've seen crazier games, that's for damn sure.
Yeah,
But yeah, like you said, I'm not betting against Pat Mahomes on this game. I might throw like if I'm gonna bet on this game, it's definitely gonna be like a player prop bet rather than like
oh,
a who's
absolutely.
gonna win or like
I'm going to
um
do a disgustingly large prop bet.
right, like I'm not doing like the spread or money line or
No, no,
anything
no.
on those
Yeah, no,
lines,
no,
like
no.
because I know if I pick the Chiefs, the Eagles are gonna win, and I know if I pick the Eagles, the Chiefs are gonna blow them out. Like
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'd rather just go with like a player prop bet here and go with it that way because I have way more confidence knowing what each player is going to do.
yeah.
So,
Well, I definitely did already bet the Chiefs as soon as they won their game. I immediately bet the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. But yeah, I did the same thing last year. Felt pretty good about it. So I'm just going to do it again. Whatever. If I lose it, I lose it. But yeah, no, I am going to make a pretty fun prop. I think this, in terms of prop betting, I think it's going to be a fun Super Bowl. Like, there's a
mhm,
lot of players that can do a lot of fun things, but also kind of tough because like we just saw Travis Kelce have maybe one of his worst games I've ever seen him play in a playoffs. Like
right.
that kind of would throw you for a loop, like he's usually the guy guaranteed to get 70 yards and 5 catches. Like so you never know, like what the guys, I assume that's what the Eagles are going to try to do is the same exact thing as trying to take Travis Kelce away, like everyone does. So if they have some success with that, like that, that could throw a wrench in a lot of prop bets. So
Right. Yeah, I think it'll be a good Super Bowl though. I mean it's not what, America wanted in their Super Bowl. Like these are the last two teams a lot of people wanted, but I think it'll still be a game that people are going to enjoy and talk about for a while at least. Like, it's not going to be a Super Bowl that you forget or one that even though people are unhappy about it, they're going to be like, I don't even want to discuss that or like talk about it anymore or like I'm just glad it's over.
yeah,
Like people will be talking about this game. Like these are two good teams. So
Oh no, yeah, these are. I mean, we throughout the year, most people say it, like Eagles are best, probably NFC team minus the Lions injuries. If like they were all fully healthy and Eagles were fully healthy, it's close. I think it's a toss up.
right.
But yeah, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Obviously, all year you had like Brian's not on here, but he was jerking off the Ravens, saying how good they were. Well, look who's here, not the Ravens. So Chiefs were, they do what they do. But yeah, like the coolest thing I think is if the Chiefs do it, like we get to be kind of witness history. Like,
Right.
our kids down the road will be like, wait, there was a team that went 3 straight, and we can be like, yeah, no, like that was our like during our time,
Unless
our
that's just
era.
like a common thing in the future now. Like
Yeah, whatever. I mean, hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be like, old heads when you talk basketball and everyone's like, you weren't around to watch Michael Jordan. It's not even
right.
close to LeBron James. Like, okay, old head, shut the fuck up. Like, come on. Now I get to be a part of something. And then, when our kids are talking about whoever the quarterback is at that time, and then we can be like, no, you didn't see Pat Mahomes. Like,
Right.
he was different.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's move into our results from last week's games.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot about these.
Yeah, I know I got 1 point here for picking the Chiefs because you guys both thought the Bills were gonna win. So I got that one right. And it looks like Brian got the Eagles one right. So Dill, you went 0 for 2 here, buddy.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Hey, listen. Remember when I started, I did say I'm picking purely because this is what I want to happen, not because what I think will happen. That was a
Right.
very very first disclaimer. Yeah. So
But yeah, I mean, what was the final score? 23-55 for that first game. So none of us were really close score-wise. I mean,
yeah, no one really called
score-wise, I
much.
guess I was closest by the 10-point spread, but
Yeah.
wrong team. And then the next game, 32-29. So we were all relatively close there, difference of score-wise. I thought it was going to be a closer, low-scoring game, but you and Brian were pretty close there on like a higher scoring game. So
Yeah.
didn't do too
Yeah.
bad there.
I was more going for what I hope would happen.
Right. Well, that will lead us into our last upset and lock of the season. Not really an upset or a lock, but we are
Yeah,
going
I
to
guess
give our Super Bowl winning pick with the score. I have Brian's score. He
yeah.
gave us the score of 22-17 for the Chiefs to win it.
Yes.
How about you, Dill?
Um. Well, like I said, I'm already going to go Chiefs. Haven't thought much about score wise. So Brian's going. It's going to be really low scoring.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of defense, which I can see. What was the score last time? Do you remember?
For last Super Bowl
The last time these two
of
played.
theirs?
Was it in the 20s as well?
Last Super Bowl or the last time they played each other?
Last time the last Super Bowl those two played 2 years ago.
Let me see. It was 38-35.
Okay. So it was in the 30s. Yeah. Okay. That's actually closer to what I was thinking. It would be in the 30s. I'll go. Give me 35-31 Chiefs.
Okay. So I'm at a bit of a odd and end here. I think the Chiefs are gonna win, but I'm
Yeah.
really, really, really hoping that the Eagles win. So just to be different from you two as well, I'm gonna pick the Eagles to win.
Don't do this, dude. I tried to do this
I
last week. You
I
get burned,
know, I
man.
know. I'm gonna pick the Eagles to win. I think they're gonna, I don't know. Like I said, I'm back and forth on it. I still think the Chiefs might pull it out, but I could see the Eagles getting the win. I don't know. But I'm just gonna stick with my gut and go Eagles,
Okay.
get the win. It's gonna be a 31-24 game.
Whoa. Okay. By a tutty.
Yep, they might have Pat Mahomes driving down at the end of the game and be able to stop him. Not really sure, but I think the Eagles might just be able to squeak it out here and get the win. So
Okay. Okay.
31-24, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I was actually just checking to see if they have any of the prop bets up yet. Yeah, I did lock in the day, like I said, the night the Super Bowl and or the AFC championship ended. I did lock in the Chiefs
Yeah.
-1.5. So I locked that shit in.
Well,
I got a lot
we'll
of money
see
left.
how it goes. The Super Bowl is not for another 2 weekends, so we will probably be back after the Super Bowl and have a lot to discuss about that game, I am sure. But for now, that'll be it from the School of Hot Takes. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment, tell us where we went wrong, what we did right. If you think our scores are good or bad, just tell us what you think. Share some of your feelings with us. And yeah, we will be back after the Super Bowl. See
Yeah,
you
yeah.
later.
We didn't even address Brian Snook's funeral.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Adios. All righty.
They do have all the props